His lips crashed into hers like a man starving. He pressed her against the cold wall of a sole alleyway, one hand gripping her waist, the other tangled in her hair. She gasped into his mouth, and he swallowed the sound like it belonged to him. Neither of them saw the black sedan passing slowly on the street behind them. Inside the car, Grandfather Kang's eyes found them through the window. His grandson, the cold one, the one who never touched anyone, was kissing the woman he had hired, the woman he had trusted. His hand tightened on his cane. His jaw turned to stone. "Sir?" the driver asked. "Should I stop?" "No," the old man whispered. "Keep driving." The car rolled past, but his eyes stayed on them until they disappeared from view. 2 months earlier, Chantel Collins sat in a Chicago hospital room watching her mother sleep. The machines beeped steadily. Bills were piled on the side table, thick envelopes she couldn't bring herself to open anymore. A hospital administrator appeared at the door. "Miss Collins, we need to discuss the account. If we don't receive payment by the end of the month, we'll have to explore other options." Chantel didn't look away from her mother's face. "I'll get it. I'll get the money." She had no idea how, but she would. If you're already hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. 2 days later, Chantel sat in her small apartment, dressed in her best blazer, staring at a laptop screen. The video call connected, and suddenly she was face to face with one of the most powerful men in South Korea. Grandfather Kang looked like old money-made flesh, silver hair, sharp eyes. Even through a screen, his presence filled her tiny room. "Miss Collins," he said, "I'll be direct. I've hired mediators before, corporate specialists, therapists. They all failed. My grandsons chewed them up and spit them out." "What makes you think I'll be different?" He studied her for a long moment. "Because you have something to lose. And because you're an outsider, they won't see you coming." He explained the situation. His twin grandsons, Juno and Jihoon, were co-CEOs of Kang Industries. They hadn't spoken directly in 3 years. He was running out of time to fix it. Then he named the fee. Chantel kept her face neutral, but her heart slammed against her ribs. It was enough to pay her mother's medical bills 3 times over. "One rule, Miss Collins. Non-negotiable." She waited. "No romantic involvement. With either of them. I'm hiring you to fix my family, not complicate it. Are we clear?" "Crystal, I hope so. Because if you break this rule, I will end our arrangement immediately, and I am not a forgiving man." 1 week later, Chantel landed at Incheon Airport. Seoul hit her like a wave. The language, the energy, the sheer scale of everything. She was escorted to Kang Industries headquarters, a tower of glass and steel that seemed to pierce the clouds. She was led to an executive floor, and that's when she saw him. Kang Ji-hoon stood at the end of a corridor, speaking to an assistant. Tall. Sharp black suit, a face carved from marble, beautiful, but severe. He didn't smile. He looked like he'd forgotten how. The assistant scurried away, clearly terrified. Then Ji-hoon's eyes cut to Chantel. He went completely still. For a long moment, he just looked at her. Not politely, not professionally. He looked at her like he was taking her apart piece by piece. Chantel refused to look away. She met his gaze and held it. Something flickered in his expression. He walked toward her, stopped close, too close. She caught his scent. Dark cologne, something expensive. "You're the fixer," he said. "I'm the mediator." Same thing, different branding. His voice was low, controlled. "My grandfather told me about you. Said you'd help us reconnect." He said the word like it disgusted him. "Do you actually believe you can do that?" "I believe I'm going to try." "Try." He almost smiled. Almost. "Let me save you time. I don't want to reconnect. I don't want to heal. And I don't respond well to people who think they can fix me." Good thing I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to do a job. He stepped even closer. Her breath caught, but she refused to step back. We'll see how long that lasts. He walked past her, close enough that his shoulder nearly brushed hers. She exhaled slowly, willing her pulse to steady. What the hell was that? The next morning, Chantel met the other twin. Kong Juno was everything his brother wasn't. Warm smile, easy laugh, instant charm. He greeted her at a cafe like they were old friends. So you've met Jihoon, he said, grinning. Still have all your limbs? Chantel couldn't help but smile. Barely. He's not as scary as he wants everyone to think. He's just... Juno's smile faltered. Broken. We both are. There was something beneath the charm. Something sad. That evening, Chantel put her first plan into action. She arranged for both brothers to arrive at a private restaurant under different pretenses. A neutral space. Good food. Maybe they'd talk. Juno arrived first, greeted her warmly. Then Jihoon walked in. He saw his brother. His expression went flat. Brother, Juno said carefully, you look well. Jihoon didn't glance at him. His eyes locked onto Chantel. You did this. I thought you could share a meal. Talk. You thought wrong. He turned to leave. Chantel stepped directly into his path. 5 minutes, she said. That's all I'm asking. 5 minutes, and if you still want to leave, I won't stop you. He looked down at her. She had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. You're either very brave, he said, quietly, or very foolish. Maybe both. The air between them crackled. 4 minutes, he said. He sat. He didn't speak to Juno. He didn't touch his food. He spent all 4 minutes staring at Chantel. At exactly 4 minutes, he stood and walked out. But before he left, he looked at her. Really looked. Juno watched his brother disappear. That's the longest he stayed in the same room as me in 3 years, he said quietly. What did you do? Chantel didn't have an answer. Her second attempt came 3 days later, a Kang Industries film premiere. Both brothers had to attend for appearances. Red carpet. Cameras everywhere. The twins stood apart, a visible gap between them that photographers tried to crop out. Inside the theater, Chantel sat between them. The movie played. Juno leaned over occasionally to whisper jokes. She smiled politely. Jihoon said nothing, but she felt his eyes on her in the dark. After the film, Chantel stepped onto a balcony overlooking Seoul's skyline. She needed air, space to think. The door opened behind her. Jihoon. He stood beside her at the railing, didn't speak at first, just looked out at the city. You could have stayed inside, she said. I could have. Why didn't you? He turned his head, looked at her profile. Why do you think? Her pulse quickened. I think you like making people uncomfortable. Only certain people. He shifted closer. Not touching, but she could feel the heat of him. You're not afraid of me? He said. Everyone else is. Why aren't you? Should I be? Probably. The air between them was thick. Your grandfather hired me to help your family, she said. That's what I'm here to do. Is that what you tell yourself? She finally looked at him. His eyes were dark, intense, focused entirely on her. Because when you look at me, Chantel, that's not what I see. Her name in his mouth sounded different, dangerous. What do you see? She whispered. He leaned in, his lips near her ear. Something you're trying very hard to hide. He pulled back, studied her flushed face with satisfaction. Good night, Miss Collins. He left. She gripped the railing, trying to steady her breathing. This was a problem. Her third attempt came at the Kang Family Foundation Gala. Grandfather Kang attended, frail but dignified, leaning on his cane. It was his first public appearance in months. Chantel's mission was simple. One photo. Both brothers standing with their grandfather. A symbol of unity. She found Ji-hoon in a corridor, avoiding the crowd as usual. "Your grandfather wants the photo," she said. "My grandfather wants a lot of things. He's dying." Ji-hoon went still. "You know that, don't you?" Chantel continued. "That's why he's pushing so hard. He doesn't have time to wait for you to heal on your own terms." Silence stretched between them. "You think you understand my family?" he asked. "I think I understand grief, and I think you've been drowning in it so long you've forgotten what air feels like." For 1 second, the mask slipped. She saw pain. Real, raw pain. Then he walked past her, toward the main hall. Chantel followed. She watched as Ji-hoon approached his grandfather, stood beside him. Juno joined from the other side. The photo was taken. Grandfather Kang's eyes glistened with tears he refused to shed. Across the room, Ji-hoon's gaze found Chantel. He held it. "Thank you," his eyes seemed to say. "Or maybe, damn you." Later that week, Chantel met with the family's housekeeper, a woman who had known the twins since birth. Over tea, the old woman told her everything. The twins' mother, Yuna, had been poor. She worked at a Kang hotel. Their father fell in love with her. His family thought she was after money. A gold digger. They never accepted her. They still dated anyway. Had the boys. When the twins were 8 years old, Yuna was crossing a street holding Juno's hand. A car ran the red light. She pushed Juno out of the way. She didn't survive. Ji-hoon was across the street, the housekeeper said quietly. He watched his mother die saving his brother. Chantel closed her eyes. He's never forgiven Juno, and I don't think he's ever forgiven himself for not being the one she saved. Now she understood. The coldness, the walls, the darkness in him. He wasn't cruel. He was shattered. The next day, Juno asked to meet her at a quiet cafe. He looked different, less charming, more raw. He told you, didn't he? Juno said. About our mother. The housekeeper told me. He's never said it to my face, but I feel it every time he looks at me. Juno stared at his coffee. Why did she save me? Why not him? Maybe he deserved it more. Don't say that. It's what he thinks. He looked up at her with open longing. I like you, Chantel. I know I shouldn't. I know the rules. But I do. She felt the weight of his words. She was gentle but firm. Juno. He gave her a sad smile. I know. You don't have to say it. He accepted it with grace, but the longing didn't leave his eyes. That night, a knock came at Chantel's apartment door. She opened it. Ji-hoon stood there, rain damp, intense. It's midnight, she said. I know. You shouldn't be here. I know. He stepped inside without waiting for permission. She backed up instinctively. He kept advancing until her back hit the wall. Ji-hoon, I've tried to stay away from you, he said. I've tried to convince myself you're just another employee, another fixer my grandfather hired. His hand came up, hovering near her face. Not touching. Not yet. But you're not, are you? This can't happen, she breathed. The rule... I don't care about his rules. I could lose everything. My mother's treatment? His jaw tightened. Something like guilt flickered across his face. Then tell me to leave. She should. She knew she should. Tell me you feel nothing when I'm near you. Tell me your pulse doesn't race when I look at you. Tell me, and I'll walk out that door and never touch you. She couldn't. She couldn't. His hand finally touched her face. Gentle, reverent, a stark contrast to his sharp words. I've never wanted anything the way I want you, he whispered, and I don't know what to do with that. Ji-hoon, I'm not a good man, Chantel. I'm selfish. I'm cold. I destroy things. His thumb traced her lower lip. But God help me, I can't destroy this. I can't walk away from you. He kissed her, not gentle, consuming. She gasped against his mouth, and he swallowed the sound, her hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, even as her mind screamed that this was wrong, forbidden, dangerous. He broke the kiss, breathing hard, forehead pressed to hers. Tell me to stop. I can't. Then we're both damned. He kissed her again. She stopped fighting. Now this is where the story gets intense. If you're enjoying it, drop a comment telling me whose side you're on, Jihoon or Juno, and if you haven't already, smash that like button. Let's get back into it. What followed were stolen moments, secret meetings, a hidden world that belonged only to them. His penthouse, floor-to-ceiling windows, soul glittering below. He kissed down her neck as she arched into him, a private corner of a night market. He bought her street food, watched her eat with something soft in his eyes, an expression no one else ever saw. His bedroom, morning light. She woke in his sheets. He was already awake, watching her. What? She asked. Nothing. I just didn't expect this. Expect what? Wanting someone to stay. Later that night, he showed her a photograph, a woman with kind eyes holding two small boys. My mother, he said. Chantel took the photo carefully. She's beautiful. She was everything, and I watched her die. His voice was flat, but his hand trembled. I blamed Juno for years. Part of me still does. But the truth is, I blame myself. I was across the street. I couldn't reach her in time. You were 8 years old. Old enough to remember. Old enough to carry it. She took his hand. He flinched, then held on like she was an anchor. You don't have to carry it alone, she said. He looked at her, walls down, completely open. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to love without destroying. Then let me teach you. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. If your grandfather finds out, I know. I won't let him hurt you. He said, you might not be able to stop him. Watch me. For 2 weeks, they lived in their secret world. Chantel knew it was dangerous. She knew every kiss was a risk, every night in his arms a gamble with her mother's life. But when Jihoon looked at her, really looked at her, she forgot how to be careful. He was different with her. The cold, untouchable CEO melted behind closed doors. He laughed. He listened. He held her like she might disappear if he let go. You're changing me, he told her one night, tracing patterns on her bare shoulder. I don't know if I should thank you or blame you. Blame me, she whispered. I can take it. He smiled, a real smile, rare and devastating. That's what scares me. You can take everything I throw at you. No one's ever been able to do that. She turned to face him. Maybe no one ever tried. Or maybe I never let them. He kissed her forehead, soft, tender, nothing like the man the world saw. I don't deserve you, he said quietly. Let me decide what you deserve. But even as the words left her mouth, Chantel felt the weight of what she was doing. Her mother was still in that hospital bed. The bills were still piling up, and she was falling deeper into something she couldn't control. One evening, Juno arrived at Jihoon's building to drop off documents. He stepped out of his car, folder in hand, and glanced toward the lobby entrance. That's when he saw them, Jihoon and Chantel, walking out together. Jihoon's hand rested on the small of her back, proprietary, intimate. She laughed at something he said. He looked at her like she hung the moon. Juno stopped. His face cycled through hurt, betrayal, resignation, then nothing. A mask slid into place. He turned and walked back to his car without entering the building. Inside the vehicle, he sat motionless for a long moment. His hands gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He had lost again. First his mother, then his brother, now her. always the one left behind. The next evening, Chantel and Ji-hoon walked through the streets of Seoul. Cherry blossom petals drifted through the air. The city buzzed with life around them, but they existed in their own bubble. Chantel teased him about his intimidating reputation. "You know, everyone's terrified of you, right?" "Good." "I'm not." He stopped walking, turned to look at her with that intense focus that made her heart stutter. "No," he said slowly. "You're not." He backed her against a wall, gentle but deliberate. People passed by on the sidewalk. He didn't care. "That's what I love about you." The word hit her like lightning. Love. Before she could respond, he kissed her. Deep, unhurried. A man claiming what was his in front of the entire city. She melted into him, forgetting where they were, forgetting the rules, forgetting everything except the feel of his lips on hers. Neither of them saw the black sedan passing slowly. Inside, Grandfather Kang watched them through the window. His face turned to stone. "I trusted you," he whispered to himself. The next morning, Chantel received a summons to the Kang estate. She knew something was wrong the moment she stepped inside. The air felt heavy. The servants wouldn't meet her eyes. She was led to Grandfather Kang's study. He sat behind his desk, the gala photo displayed prominently. His hands were folded. His expression was ice. "I gave you one rule," he said. Chantel's stomach dropped. "I can explain." "Can you?" His voice cut like a blade. "Can you explain why you did exactly what my son's lover did? A poor woman with nothing, seducing her way into this family?" The words sliced deep. "That's not what this is." "Isn't it?" He leaned forward. "Your mother is dying. You needed money. And now you're in my grandson's bed. Tell me how that's different." Chantel fought to keep her voice steady. "Because I love him." Silence. Grandfather Kang's expression didn't soften. If anything, it hardened further. "Love," he repeated coldly. "That's what she said too. Yuna, and she tore this family apart. I'm not her. You're worse." He stood slowly, frail but formidable. "Because I trusted you. I brought you into my home. I told you the one thing you couldn't do, and you did it anyway." Chantel felt tears burning behind her eyes. "Please." "You have 24 hours to leave Seoul. The contract is terminated." The words hit her like a physical blow. My mother should have raised a daughter with more integrity. The cruelty was deliberate, surgical. He wanted it to hurt. And it did. Grandfather Kang opened a drawer and pulled out an envelope. He slid it across the desk toward her. 50 million won, he said. "Take it and leave Seoul tonight. Leave my grandson alone. Never contact him again." Chantel stared at the envelope like it was poison. "You're trying to buy me off?" "I'm giving you what you came here for, money for your mother's treatment. Isn't that why you took this job in the first place?" The words were calculated, cruel, designed to make her feel small. "I didn't plan for this to happen," she whispered. "I didn't plan to fall in love with him." "And yet here we are." Grandfather Kang's voice was ice. "You broke the one rule I gave you. You inserted yourself into my family, into my grandson's bed. And now you expect me to believe it was love? It is love. It's manipulation, desperation, a poor woman clinging to a rich man because she has no other options." He gestured at the envelope. "Prove me wrong. Walk away from the money. Stay and fight for him." Chantel's eyes burned with tears. She thought about Ji-hoon, the way he held her, the way he looked at her like she was the first good thing he'd let himself want in years. Then she thought about her mother, the hospital bills, the machines keeping her alive. If she refused the money, she would have nothing. Her mother would have nothing. If she took it, she would lose Ji-hoon forever. Either way, she lost. "He'll hate you for this," she said quietly. Perhaps. But he'll survive. He survived worse. Chantel's hand trembled as she reached for the envelope. Every part of her screamed to stop, to throw it back in his face, to fight. But her mother's face flashed in her mind. Pale, fragile, waiting for her daughter to save her. She took the money. Tears spilled down her cheeks as her fingers closed around the envelope. "You have 2 hours to leave Seoul," Grandfather Kang said. "If you contact Ji-hoon, if you try to explain, I will make sure your mother's hospital finds a reason to discharge her." Chantel looked up at him, horrified. "You would do that?" "I protect my family, Miss Collins, by any means necessary." She stood on shaking legs. The envelope felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "He was right about you," she said quietly. "You destroy everything you touch, and one day you'll be alone, and you'll deserve it." She walked out before he could respond. Chantel packed her suitcase with shaking hands. The apartment that had become her home now felt like a crime scene. Every corner held a memory she had to abandon. She didn't let herself think about Ji-hoon. If she thought about him, she would shatter. Her phone buzzed. His name flashed on the screen. She silenced it. It buzzed again, and again. 17 missed calls by the time she reached the door. She turned off her phone and left. Across the city, Ji-hoon pounded on her apartment door. No answer. He called the doorman. She had left an hour ago, headed to the airport. Something cracked inside his chest. He ran to his car and tore through Seoul's streets. Every red light felt like torture. Every slow driver was an obstacle between him and the only person who had ever seen him, really seen him. He thought about his mother, how he had spent years punishing himself for her death. He thought about Chantel, how she had broken through walls he didn't even know he had. He wasn't going to lose her. Not like this. At Incheon Airport, Chantel moved through the terminal like a ghost. The envelope was tucked in her bag. Blood money, the price of her heart. Announcements echoed overhead. Families reunited, couples said goodbye. She kept her head down and kept walking. Gate 47. Final boarding for Flight 892 to Chicago. She approached the gate agent, boarding pass extended. This was the right thing. The only thing. Her mother would live. Ji-hoon would move on. Eventually, the pain would fade. That's what she told herself. She took a step toward the gate. And then, "Chantel!" Her heart stopped. The voice cut through the airport like thunder. Desperate. Raw. Unmistakably him. She froze. "Chantel!" Slowly she turned. And there he was. Kang Ji-hoon. "Chantel!" Her boarding pass slipped from her fingers. It floated to the ground in slow motion. Tears streamed down her face. He was running for her, screaming her name for the entire airport to hear, shattering every wall he had ever built. For her. The crowd parted around him, 20 feet, 15, 10. She could see everything in his eyes. Fear, desperation, love so raw it looked like it was killing him. "Chantel!" 5 feet. She took a step toward him. 3 feet. 2. Their eyes locked. He was almost there. Ji-hoon pulled back just enough to look into her eyes. His thumbs wiped the tears from her cheeks. "You are my life," he said. "Don't you understand that? Before you, I was just surviving, going through the motions, punishing myself for something that happened 20 years ago." His voice broke. "You made me want to live again. You made me believe I could be more than my worst moments. And if you walk through that gate, I will spend the rest of my life regretting that I didn't fight hard enough to keep you." Chantel's heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same breath. "Your grandfather will never accept this," she whispered. "And he'll lose me. That's his choice. And Juno, your family, everything you've built." Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. "I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Together." He pressed his forehead to hers again. I have spent my entire life pushing people away because losing them hurts too much. But losing you? His voice dropped to a whisper. That would destroy me. She closed her eyes, let herself feel the weight of his words, the truth in them. Stay, he breathed. Please, stay. The final boarding call echoed through the terminal. She looked at the gate, then back at him. The man who had been cold, broken, untouchable. The man who had just run through an airport screaming her name. The man who loved her enough to burn his whole world down. She made her choice. If you made it to the end, you're a real one. Drop a comment and tell me, should she stay or should she go? What do you think happens next? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. This story is just getting started.